So I think you
Yes.
have the most names or most name on the board. Nice. Love it. All right. So without further ado, let us move on to our lesson proper on partnership. And this is the last lesson before we can move on to another form, which is an S Corp. But before we do S Corp, we are gonna apply what we have learned um, from the glide materials, okay, with our actual uh, tax preparation of Form 1065 using ProConnect, right? So we've covered contribution to a partnership, partnership operation. Now we're down to disposition of a partner's interest, okay? So let's do this. There's only two lessons here, so this should be quick, okay? Let me just unshare you guys. I have not shared the volume or the audio. There is my control. All right, you guys see my screen, right? This is Glyme recording or the Glyme material. So we're going to talk about sale of a partnership interest and liquidating distributions. In practice, guys, I haven't seen this at all. Yung partnership selling their interest in the partnership, as well as liquidating distributions. I have not come across this. I will soon be exposed to one, but S Corp naman yun, the partnership. Anyway, let's hear it from JT.
Hey there, let's go over the disposition of a partner's interest in a partnership, which can be done either through a sale or a liquidation. It's important to understand the differences between these methods because the tax consequences differ. Let's start with the sale of a partnership interest. So, how does that work? The sale of a partnership interest generally results in a capital gain or loss. The gain or loss is the difference between the amount realized and the adjusted basis of the partnership interest. The amount realized includes the relief of any liabilities that have been assumed by the buyer. But what about the basis of the partnership interest? Well, the basis of the partnership interest must be adjusted for the current year's distributive share and other allocations. Now, additionally, the partnership may make an election for an optional adjustment to the basis of partnership assets in the year the interest is transferred. This adjustment is the difference between the transferee's partner's basis for the partnership interest and their proportionate share of the basis of all partnership property. The sale can be made to an outside party or another partner. However, a sale to the partnership is treated as a liquidating distribution. It's important to note that a sale of a partnership interest relates to a partner's outside or adjusted basis, while the inside basis relates to the basis the partnership has in its assets. If a partner receives money or property in exchange for any part of a partnership interest, the amount attributable to the share of the partnership's unrealized receivables or inventory items results in ordinary income or loss. A partnership terminates for federal tax purposes only when the operations of the partnership ceases. The partner's self-employment income includes their distributive share of income earned by the partnership through the end of the month in which the partner's death occurs. A sale or exchange termination is treated as a distribution of assets immediately followed by the contribution of those assets to a new partnership. The tax year of a partnership closes with respect to a partner whose entire interest in the partnership terminates by death, liquidation, or other means. A deceased partner's allocable share of partnership items up to the date of death will be taxed to the decedent on their final return. Any items allocated after the date of death will be the responsibility of the successor in interest. A return must be filed for this short period from the beginning of the tax year through the date of termination, but the partnership's tax year does not end. Lastly, the conversion from a partnership to an LLC is not considered a sale, exchange, or liquidation of any partnership interest. The partnership's tax year does not close, and the LLC can continue to use the partnership's taxable identification number. All right, my friends, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.
I got nothing. I got nothing to add, guys. This is not an area that I'm very knowledgeable of. So, bahala na kayo intindihin yung material ni JP. And again, if you guys would want to read more about this, we have a downloadable PDF in the How to Become an Enrolled Agent course in the BA website. Okay. That's more detailed.
Joseph is a partner in JKL Partnership. The adjusted basis of his partnership interest is $38,000, which includes his $30,000 share of partnership liabilities. The partnership has no unrealized receivables or inventory items. Joseph sells his interest in the partnership for $15,000 in cash and is relieved of any partnership liabilities. He had been paid his share of the partnership income for the tax year. What is Joseph's gain or loss on the sale? Okay.
Try mo na to, guys. Based on your own simple understanding. So, basis niya is 38, which includes 30,000 share of his partnership liabilities. So, he received 15,000 in cash. So proceeds nito is 15 plus the 30 na liabilities niya, right? So that means 45,000. So 45,000 minus, I suppose, 38. Simple understanding of accounting. Let's see.
So, if we start with the adjusted basis of $38,000, and baked into that, we know is this $30,000 share of partnership liabilities, you kind of got to think of this like cancellation of debt income. So if he's relieved of the $30,000 of partnership liabilities, it's not like he got just $15,000 of cash, but he got this relief of debt of $30,000. So I'm going to take the $30,000 out first, which leaves me with an $8,000 basis. Now, if I sell this for $15,000 cash and I get $8,000 tax-free return of capital, that gives me a $7,000 gain potentially. And that is absolutely our answer, the $7,000. So the other piece that I want to point out here, though, is the partnership has no unrealized receivables or inventory items. While not applicable to this problem, one thing that you should have been thinking about right there is that these are hot assets, okay? And that should have been a key term that you picked up on from our Gleim knowledge transfer outline. Not applicable here, but anytime we see those kind of teachable moments, we want to tackle them. So this case, $7,000 gain, and the reason why is just because of this basically forgiveness of debt income. So our answer is A.
All right, would you have guessed the same?
Cobb, Macy, Danver, and Evans each owned a 1/4 interest in the capital and profits of their calendar year partnership. On September 18, year one, Cobb and Danver sold their partnership interests to Frank and immediately withdrew from all participation in the partnership. On March 15, year two, Cobb and Danver received full payment from Frank for the sale of their partnership interests. For
Actually,
tax purposes, the partnership did.
yeah, trying out the answer. For tax purposes, the partnership, A, terminated on September 18, year one. Is it terminated on December 31, year one? Was it terminated on March 15, year two, or it did not terminate at all? What's your educated guess?
Did it terminate or did it not terminate? So, in order for a partnership to not terminate, you got to have at least two partners in the partnership ongoing. So, if we think about this, right, it says that Cobb and Danvers sold their interest to Frank. So, Cobb and Danvers were out and kind of got replaced then by Frank, but you still had Macy and Evans the entire time. So if they were around for the entire time and there was a continuation of business and financial operations, basically the economic ventures of the partnership continued, there really should not be a termination. So here the answer is did not terminate because we at least had two or more parties involved at all times and the business continued.
All right. Pansin nyo, sa glide material, once like when you decide to take the EA exam as well, may mga questions na hindi na covered din sa video. So when I was studying it, pinapanood ko yung video and then I just solved more questions after the video. Kasi again, marami kang matututunan. And for me, mas effective yung kahit hindi ko man na-cover yung material and I'm already trying to answer the question kasi mas nare-retain siya. Right? So that's what I did when I didn't have to go through the PDF anymore. So I watched the video and then answer lang ako ng answer ng questions. And again, the beauty with Gleim is the more you answer questions, the more niyang na-assess kung you're already strong in that topic. So there will be lesser question that relates to the topic. So babatuhin ka niya ng maraming questions doon sa areas na it considers you as still weak, right? So parang ina-customize niya yung questions na binabato niya sa'yo based doon sa nakikita niyang strengths and weaknesses mo. So it's very ang tawag doon adaptive learning. And it's good. It was very effective for me. I don't know sino ba yung nakausap ko na she invested in another client, another EA resource na mas detailed din. So once again, you're decided to take on the EA exam, whatever suits you in terms of learning materials. And merong sale ngayon ang mga materials kasi Thanksgiving, diba? Last Wednesday ng November is Thanksgiving sa US. So naka 50% off ang tama ba? I think 50% off kasi last time 50% off ang line and maybe other Becker ata. Becker ba yung ano nakausap ko ha? Kalimutan ko. Sorry, no offense, but I talked to someone who was doing EA na rin. She purchased Becker ata or trial lang ng Becker na material. So if you guys are seriously considering the EA credential, might as well invest now, right? Kasi you still have many months pa naman to study before you eventually take the exam. And maganda din siya because once you do the actual practice, kasi dun sa internship program that we will be launching very soon, I want to make sure that you guys are able to prepare returns na varying yung circumstances ng taxpayer. So you're studying the GLAM material and you're actually preparing returns, mas nagsisink in yun sa inyo. And that worked well for me as well. When I was studying for the EA exam, because I was already working, nare-relate ko siya. And mas nare-retain siya ng utak ko. Right? So yeah, that's just sharing from me. Right, now let's move on to the last topic on partnership, the liquidating distributions.
Liquidating distributions. These occur when a partner's entire interest in a partnership is liquidated, which can happen due to partnership termination, retirement, or the death of a partner. A sale to the partnership of a partner's entire interest is also treated as a liquidating distribution. Payments to a retired partner that are determined by partnership income are treated as distributive share of partnership income, regardless of the period over which they are paid. This income is characterized at the partnership level. Payments to a retiring partner in liquidation of an interest that are treated as distributive shares of partnership income or as guaranteed payments are subject to self-employment tax. Amounts received from the partnership in liquidation of a partnership interest are generally treated the same as other non-liquidating distributions. Gain is recognized to the extent that the money distributed exceeds the liquidating partner's adjusted basis, or AB, in the partnership interest immediately before the distribution. A decrease in the partner's share of partnership liabilities is treated as distribution of money. The gain is typically capital gain, but pre-contribution gain or disproportionate distribution of substantially appreciated inventory, unrealized receivables, or URs, could result in ordinary income. Now, what is considered substantially appreciated inventory? Inventory is considered substantially appreciated if its fair market value, or FMV, exceeds 120% of the partnership's adjusted basis. Gains from such distributions are taxed as ordinary income. But what about losses? A loss is realized when the money and fair market value of property distributed are less than the adjusted basis of the partnership interest. However, no loss is recognized if any property other than money, unrealized receivables, and inventory is distributed in liquidation of the interest. The recognized loss is limited to any excess of the adjusted basis in the partnership interest over the sum of money and the adjusted basis in the URs and inventory. This loss is characterized as if from the sale of a capital asset. The partner's basis in the distributed property is then quite important. The partner's basis in the distributed property is the partnership's adjusted basis in the property immediately before distribution, but it is limited to the distributee's adjusted basis in the partnership interest immediately before distribution, less any money received. If the total partnership basis of assets distributed exceeds the partner's basis in the partnership interest, the decrease is allocated in the same manner as for current distributions. For liquidating distributions, if the basis in the partnership interest exceeds the total partnership basis and of the distributed assets, the increase is allocated by determining the amount of basis to be allocated, assigning the existing basis to each property, allocating any appreciation, and then allocating any remaining basis based on fair market value prior to the distribution. The distributee's holding period in the distributed property includes that of the partnership. How is the disposition of distributed assets then handled? Well, gain on the sale of unrealized receivables, URs, distributed by the partnership is ordinary income. The gain or loss realized on inventory distributed depends on the nature of the property in the distributee's hands. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching.
Wala akong naintindihan, guys. But let's continue.
When payments are made to a retiring partner or a successor in interest of a deceased partner for an interest in the partnership property, which of the following is true?
So when payments are made to a retiring partner or a successor in interest of a deceased partner for an interest in the partnership property, which of the following is true? Is it A, payments that are based on partnership income are not taxable as a distributive share of partnership income, but for the interest in the partnership? B, a retiring partner is treated as a partner until his or her interest in the partnership has been completely liquidated. This sounds true. I mean, seems reasonable to me. Letter C, payments made for a retiring partner share of the partnership's unrealized receivables are treated as made in exchange for partnership's property if capital is not a material income producing factor and the retiring partner was a general partner. Or D, if the amount of payment is based on partnership income, the payment is treated as a guaranteed payment. If the amount of payment is based on partnership income, I don't think this is true. Letter D, I don't think letter D is true. Right? Partnership income is distribution, right? So I'm not sure. Maybe B is true. I don't understand the first A and C, honestly. But let's hear it from JT.
All right, so there should be a lot of false, but only one true out here. Let's see. A, payments that are based on partnership income are not taxable as a distributive share of partnership income, but for the interest in the partnership. Do you think you would get non-taxable? No, that just doesn't feel right at all. Remember, the goal of the tax code is to maximize tax revenues. So to just magically have some non-taxable income because of this retiring partner or deceased partner situation doesn't make a ton of sense. B, a retiring partner is treated as a partner until his or her interest in the partnership has been completely liquidated. You're still a partner. And it's if you're still having some ownership and until you're completely liquidated, B sounds pretty good. So I'm going to put a star there. Let's read C and D. Payments made for a retiring partner's share of the partnership's unrealized receivables are treated as made in exchange for partnership property if capital is not a material producing income factor and the retiring partner was a general partner. Unrealized receivables ought to be ringing fire alarms for you. Hot assets. Okay, so hot assets. Does that magically turn into some special treatment there? No, we are told over and over that hot assets are just treated as ordinary income. So I'm not a fan of C, just based on seeing something there that hot assets would get a special carve out. D, if the amount of the payment is based on partnership income, the payment is treated as a guaranteed payment. No, if the amount is based on partnership income, that just sounds like you're a partner in a partnership. And if you're not providing any services, how could it be a guaranteed payment? So B is really the one that we're after here. And B is the correct answer. And this comes from Pub 541. And what this reads is it says, for income tax purposes, a retiring partner or successor in interest of a deceased partner is treated as a partner until his or her interest in the partnership has been completely liquidated. So this one here, until it is completely liquidated, until that partner no longer has any interest whatsoever, they're still a partner. So that one makes a lot of sense to me, just kind of reading through it. And sometimes that's what you got to look at is just, does it make fundamental sense, and try to eliminate some of these options, which is what we did here. So my friends, B in this case is our answer.
All right. Guess I was right there.
Doug Partnership operates a business. Its tax year ends on December 31. A partner dies on August 20 of the current year. The deceased partners and his or her estate's distributive share of partnership income for the year of death is $18,000. The partner's share of self-employment income from the partnership is.
Let's try to make some educated guess here. So the Doug Partnership operates a business. Its tax year ends on December 31, calendar year. The partner dies on August 20 of the current year. The deceased partners and his or her estate's distributive share of partnership income for the year of death is $18,000. The partner's share of self-employment income from the partnership is. So 18,000 yung kanyang distributive share. Is it the entire 18,000? Or is it prorated the time he died? Because he was effectively not a partner anymore. Let's see.
Okay, so what do we need to do here with the partner that passed away, and how should we treat their distributive share of partnership income? So their distributive share for partnership income is $18,000, but that would be for the entire year because its tax year ends on December 31st. So the question that we're really trying to figure out here, because it says the partner share of self-employment income, well, if the partner was alive from January 1 to in this case, the partner passed away on August 20th. We have 8 months going on there. Now, I recognize that August is not a full month, but we would treat that the tax code dictates that we treat it as if the partner was alive for the entire month. So it's a full month convention, if you will. So we have 8 months. There are 12 months in a year, if you're not familiar. So we have 8 out of 12 times $18,000 is really what we need to do here. So let's take our calculator and we will go $18,000 times 8 divided by 12, and we come up with 12,000 bucks. Sure enough, there it is. C's our answer.
All right, so prorated nga. Just give me 1 second. All right, so we're done. How does it feel? Finishing the topics on partnership. Overwhelming enough. It is really overwhelming.
Sumakit ang ulo ko.
Mine too. I know napagdaanan ko na to, but
Natatawa na
when I was studying this, hindi talaga siya na-absorb ng utak ko nung unang round ng studies ko. Yung basis talaga yung sobrang hirap kong intindihin sa partnership. As in, kasi sa quizzes nito, maraming computation ng basis. Sobrang hirap. So, hinuli ko na siya. Nag-skip ako ng maraming, nag-skip ako tapos days leading to the exam, nag-focus ako sa basis. Tapos, in fairness naman, actual exam nadalian na ako. Because things made more sense. Pero after ng exam, nakalimutan ko na din. Nakalimutan ko kasi hindi mo naman talaga siya mapapractice. Yung sa actual tax preparation, hindi mo siya mapapractice kasi bihira yung nag-liquidate ng position, bihira yung partnership na nagkakasimula pa lang, right? So most of the time, nagpe-prepare tayo ng 1065 existing na client, right? So, tapos, wala ding new partners. So, bihira siyang nangyayari. So, ayun, nakalimutan ko na din. But I really have to go back kasi meron akong tinatrabaho ngayon na partnership na I have to track the basis kasi lumipat siya ng bagong accountant, which is kami. And then, magulo yung kanyang book, super gulo. Tapos, walang basis, right? So, kailangan kong, what I asked from this business owner is yung lahat ng tax return niya from 2017, right? So, in fairness naman sa ChatGPT, nagbigay siya ng format on how to track the basis both at the federal and the state level. Kasi nga magkaiba yung treatment ng basis, lalo na California. Sobrang daming differences sa California. So, dinownload ko yung Excel. Naghihintay na lang ako nung prior year returns. And that way, matatrack ko yung basis kasi yung isang partner ng firm ay co-owner ng, kasi this business that I'm talking about, they operate a restaurant in California. Tapos si Kendall, may share siya doon sa restaurant. So kailangan na may i-track yung basis niya kasi she's considering disposing her ownership in that partnership. So yun, first time ko lang ma-encounter. But I will share with you guys once I have it. Para din mabalikan in case you encounter the same thing. All right, so with that said, we're done as far as the GLIME material is concerned, but we're not yet done with partnership. Okay, so let me close this now. And then let's go to the materials that I shared earlier this morning. So I don't know, you guys, seeing request of access to this folder. So you're not meant to get edit access. The reason why I wanted to keep it, where is that? Read only is that you ought to create or copy this. So I don't know if you have read only access so you can download it. So I suggest you download these three and then save it on your local computer. Save it in another folder, right? That's how you get to edit the material. I'm not gonna allow any edit access on these, okay? So it's to preserve it. Because this one, for example, is a work paper template. And you have to save this, guys. If you want to maximize the use of this template and customize it, if you think you can make it anything or any better, please do so, right? Because I got this from one of the firm that I used to work for kasi sobrang nagandahan ako. And then, may mga iniba na lang din ako over time. Because yung ibang firm that I worked for before, wala kaming work paper. Right? So, ang hirap i-review ng work. And so, because I have this, and then yung mga nag-work na ako sa kasi nag-move on ako sa other firm, the firms that I work for na mga walang work paper, I introduced this work paper and they love it. Like, they really, really love it. So, pwede nyo itong pang ano, guys, pampasikat. Gawing pampasikat when you're joining a firm. Tapos yung maliliit lang na firm na walang work paper. Kasi usually, pag maliit na firm, hindi na siya kung maliit lang na firm, yung firm owner mismo yung gumagawa ng return. So, siya din nagre-review. So, hindi na kailangan mag-work paper kasi siya naman ang nag-work. Tapos siya na yung magre-review. Right? So, there are cases like that. Yung mga naghahanap ng staff, usually because they wanna delegate the work na to someone else who's gonna be working for them. Kasi gusto niyang nang lumaki yung kanyang practice. So, and that's also a good firm to work in, right? Kasi, yun yung mga, pansin ko, yun yung mga firm na malaki ang bigayan, right? Kasi walang ano, I don't know, wala pa siya masyadong experience outsourcing work, right? So yung mentality nung naghahanap ng assistant is kung magkano yung dapat na binabayad niya kapag US person yung hinahire niya, right? Or may discount man, but konti lang, right? So ganun yung mindset niya. As opposed to yung firm owner na exposed na sa mga Filipino workers, ay mga naghahanap ng workers sa online jobs PH, exposed na sila dyan sa rate. Diba? Tingnan nyo yung rate ng online jobs page, masyadong mababa kumpara sa Upwork. Right? Kasi the fact that they know online jobs.ph, that means they've already worked with Filipino freelancers before. So they know what's a reasonable rate for Filipinos, right? So like if the minimum rate in California is like $25 an hour, then they may likely slash that to a half, maybe more than half, right? Because wala naman silang binabayaran, FICA taxes, right? And the cost of living in California especially is so much higher than the cost of living in the Philippines. So, alam nila yung kalakaran na ng rate for Filipinos if they're already in online jobs PH. But to share you one thing, I got premium clients from online jobs PH twice, right? Twice. And again, nakwento ko na to sa inyo, yung sa inyo, rate ko sa online jobs PH, yung sagad. yung sagad na rate. And the reason why I was picked by the two firms that I actually get to work for was because premium rate, that means this guy knows, right? And of course, I was an EA and I was Philippine CPA, and I had the number of years of experience. So they did not gamble, right? So rather than gambling with someone with a lower rate and no experience and everything else, they go straight with me. And mind you guys, yung dalawang taong yun, walang interview, right? So they reach out to me and said, isang beses nga, yung isa nga sabi niya, Chris, you have WhatsApp? Can I call you? So I gave him my WhatsApp number, and then he called me. We talked for 5 minutes, and then after that, he sent me an email. Work na ako sa kanya. Ganon kasimple. Ganon, kasi you're working directly with the firm owner, right? Ganon kasimple. Usually mga firm owners, pag alam mo yung sinasabi mo, they gauge, oh, this guy knows. So parang plug and play ka ba? No? So pagkapasok ko ng firm, bibigyan ka lang ng access ng lahat ng tools niya, yung CRM, yung tax software, yung remote desktop application, and then you're pretty much on your own, right? Pag may question ka, WhatsApp or any form of communication you have with the firm owner. That's the advantage if you're working directly with the firm owner. Na wala pa masyadong Filipino staff. Kasi yung mindset niya, US, right? US rate, US, type of working environment na walang micromanagement. Pag firm naman na established na, tapos marami ng US, marami ng Filipino na staff, usually tempered na yung rate, right? Because again, may experience na siya eh. Tapos, isa din downside, actually, working with, this is just me talking, ha? This is my opinion, and of course, you can judge me based on my opinion. But what I notice if I'm working with fellow Filipinos, dragging, like, right, the toxic culture of Filipinos, like pasikatan, yung mga chismis, and yung mga marites na mga ganyan na may mga sarili pang GC. I don't like it. Like, I just don't like that kind of working environment. Yan yung nagiging isang downside if working with kapwa natin, right? So masakit sa ulo, right? So I really I shy away from that type of environment. And so far naman, isang beses lang yata ako na napadpad sa isang setup na ganyan, and inayawan ko na after a few weeks. So most of the time, direct firm owners yung nakakausap. Wala sila yung masyadong tinatanong. Usually ang question sa nila is that, what software are you knowledgeable of? Right? It's very important to them that you're knowledgeable with the tax software that they are using. Right? That is why when we do the internship later on, I would want you to experience multiple tax software, right? To increase your chances of getting hired eventually, right? So for one, we are already using ProConnect. But ProConnect, you guys, this is useful for startup firms. Kasi ang ProConnect, if you notice, per return yung charge niya, right? So per federal return, tapos per state pa. So medyo malaki yung overhead cost nung firm, right? But usually startup firm lang yan kasi wala pa yung economies of scale yung mga firm na yan eh. Like hindi pa umaabot sa 100 tax returns yung fina-file nila a year. So hindi nila kaya mag-subscribe to a more sophisticated tax software. So ano yung mga most sophisticated tax software? For one, Pro Series. So Pro Series is also owned by Intuit, owner of ProConnect. Lessert, pareha din yan. ProConnect, pareha din yun ang owner of ProConnect, Lessert. Intuit then. So what these software do is they're more sophisticated. They're tawag dito. Most firm owners, they subscribe to a one-time fee, let's say $3,000, $4,000 a year for the tax software, and then unlimited tax returns na. So yan, kaya pag malaking firm na, malaking, meaning more than 100 tax returns na yun yung prepare a year, gumagamit na sila ng sophisticated tax software. So again, ProConnect, Lacert, UltraTax, CCH, yun yung apat na medyo malalaking software. Pag maliliit, mga tax layer, tax act, Drake, at saka yan, ProConnect. So I'm already working with colleagues of mine, people that I used to work with, na may access sa CCH at saka sa UltraTax, so that you guys, when you become part of the internship program, can have experience at least ng dalawa. I'll work with Sam and Kendall to allow us to use Lacert as well in our training, because again, Lacert is also highly used. Yung kausap ko the other day is using Pro Series. So, and he's open to an arrangement where, and he's, he knows about borderless accountants too. So hopefully we can get him so that at least yung four na software that are mainstream, you can get your actual experience. Kasi again, malaking factor yun when you're interviewing for someone, that you're knowledgeable about the software. Hindi naman yung talagang super knowledgeable, but you know how to navigate it, right? Because of course, you will get the more knowledge of it the more that you work on the tax software. And dito, marami namang ways on how you can figure out pag complex na yung situation, kasi may mga AI naman. Like I still use AI when I'm navigating Lacert, like especially sa state level. So nagpe-perplexity ako niyan, like how to enter PTE tax payment, for example, on a partner per partner level sa Lacert. So meron naman yung mga tutorial. But again, the basic navigation of the software, the familiarity, is very important. So yun. What tax software are you using? What CRM you're familiar with? Again, very big in the tax practice yung tax dome. So it's very important that you're also knowledgeable with tax dome. And then, yeah, I think those are the two most important things that you need to be knowledgeable of. And then even work hours, right? So work hours, of course, US based sila. But most of the time, it doesn't really matter anymore. It's good if you can work strictly US hours, but if you can be open to negotiating with the firm owner that say we can do an overlap of 2 to 3 hours a day, depends on his time zone, that should work, right? But again, it's important that you already establish trust, because firm owners, they know they don't have to work the same hours as you do. Kasi yung again, yung pag-prepare ng tax return, lahat dyan nasa software and nasa CRM lang naman. So hindi naman lagi kayo nag-uusap ng firm owner, right? Hindi naman kailangan lahat urgent mong replyan, like in pagka-send ng message, reply magad. Usually 24 to 48 hours naman yung turnaround time. Kapag may message yung client or yung taxpayer, general rule is 24 to 48 hours naman yung response time. So kahit hindi kayo working US hours, although meron talagang strict, pero alam nyo na yan, kapag strict for working hours, that's someone who tends to be micromanaging, right? So you may want to shy away from that kasi sakit sa ulo yung mga owners na nagma-micromanage. But over time, once you get more confident with tax preparation, it will show during the interview. And in my case, hindi na nga ako tinatanong ng hours of working hours, because they know, right? Like I work based on productivity. So yun lang. Mga first 2 years siguro, nagmamatter yun. Kasi first 2 years parang you're so hungry for more experience, you're hungry to work for as many firms as possible. So you tend to like, binibigay mo yung gusto nilang marinig, right? Pag nag-i-interview, diba? I don't know if you guys feel that when you're interviewing for someone, your answers are not really the answers coming from your heart and your mind. It's an answer that you think the interviewer would like to hear, right? Parang ganun eh, binabasa mo yung question and ina-answer mo siya based sa kung anong gusto marinig nung nagtatanong, right? But over time, when you're confident already with what you do, no, you say what's on your mind, right? You're not afraid to like, baka hindi ako i-hire nito. Because if I say this, baka no. You say, like, this is the hours that I work. I could only render 44 hours a day. I work in my own time. I don't like being micromanaged. I use time tracker, but it's mostly built in the CRM for me to be able to also ascertain the number of hours I work per return, right? So
Nalubat siguro yun.
Oo nga, kanina kasi nakita
Chris,
sa akin
bukas
na
mag-pro connect tayo. Mary
Bukas?
Chris, di ba ikaw bukas?
Ano yon yung ano pa muna, yung
10:55.
working papers, tapos
Yan.
after nun, i-pro-connect siya. After nun, yung, di ba, pag maayos na yung paper,
Yung form.
ita-translate siya.
Individual?
Ano na yun eh? Partnership yun.
Ah, okay. Sige, sige.
Partnership. Yeah. Nag-hobat si Chris.
Alobat na ba yung laptop niya?
Nag-ano kanina. Parang
Yung
Kanina
may
kasi,
naririnig natin maingay?
Oo, yun.
Kanina kasi
Akala ko
nag-ano.
nagme-message sa kanya.
Actually, chinarge niya. Baka kako kasi hindi nakasaksak yung pinag-charge niya.
Oo.
Oo. Kaya hindi naka-charge ng ano.
Ayan nga, empty daw
Nakakita ko si Melissa tawa lang tawa, tsaka si Marie Chris. Grabe naman kasi yung lesson. Sakit talaga sa ulo. Ano ba yan? Nabasa
Nakatulog
ako
ako.
ng ano ba yun? Yung
Binabasa ko, ina-analyze ko, hindi ko talaga hindi pumapasok, hindi.
Yung mga guaranteed payment, nagbasa ako kanina, wala rin. Ayan na, bumalik na si Chris. Where is Chris? Parang dyan, Chris is not the host now.
Kaya natatawa ako. Kasi,
Oo nga, ang hirap absorb, no?
oo,
English
hindi ko
pa.
ma-absorb. Parang kasi dalawang beses ko na binasa. Hindi ko talaga mawawaan. Hindi ko hindi maano sa utak ko. Ano ba? Ano yung binabasa ko?
hi guys, sorry.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Namatay yung aking computer. Di pala nakasaksak yung aking charger.
Ayun, tama hula. Nag Nag-recharge nang hindi nakasaksak.
Oo, kasi pala loosen yung socket. So I had to fix it, but I'm glad I'm back. Ayun, you guys, tip ko lang naman yun. As we go along, you will receive more tips on interviews, and that's also one reason why we're doing this talent pooling with BA, because I understand not a lot of you are good at interviews, right? There are people who cannot get past an interview, although they know what they're doing, right? And so there is a gateway that we're providing wherein we can connect you straight to employers. But it will take time, right? So this needs an investment of your time and some of your resources. And over time, we would need to get to know you in order for us to be able to vouch for you. You know what I mean? So that's the essence of this community. Kasi honestly, ang hirap pasukin ng tax prep kung wala kang experience. Right? You cannot get that confidence kasi kahit mag-aral ka ng blind, ng theoretical, mag-practice ka ng ProConnect, in tax kasi we don't know what we don't know, right? Hindi natin alam kung ang hindi natin alam, right? Until we're confronted with that particular tax circumstance. So by now you can already feel that we're here for the long run, not for the short run, right? We are not offering the course na tapusin natin ng 4 months and that's it, right? Because tax doesn't work that way, right? It's a continuous process. It's a continual learning experience. I've been doing taxes for 6 years. Ang dami ko pang hindi alam, right? And that's how it really works. Anyway, so let's start getting our feet wet with a 1065 return. And some of you here have already actually started it. Yung mga nakasubscribe sa ating YouTube channel, this is one of your perks. Remember that, guys. So you were ahead, pretty much, because we use the same exercise. So again, don't request for an edit access to these materials. What you do instead is download them and save them in your own local computer. And then right now, I'd like you to look at the financials. So this is the profit and loss as well as the balance sheet sample for this company that we are going to be working on. And they're on accrual basis. But don't mind this. This is just how it was extracted in QuickBooks, but this entity is actually using cash basis. And how do you know? And this always is the case for you. When you're preparing a tax return, you will be provided with the financials and the prior year return, right? Prior year return if it's not an existing client of the firm that you are working for, okay? So what do you need from the prior year return are these, okay? So on the face this is the 1065 return. For partnership, it's 6 pages, right? So others would be attachments already or forms. So, right. So the form actually ends here, Schedule M1, right? So this is the entire 1065 return. So what you need from here when you're going to be entering this information into ProConnect as the tax software that we're going to be using for this exercise would be this, right? So the name of the entity, the address, the employer identification number or the EIN, the date it started the operation or the date it was formed, and then the type of business, right? And in 2023, this was the first year. So as you can see, this is initial return, right? In 2024, it's no longer going to be initial return, right? Because it's already the second year of the business. So you will not mark initial return anymore, right? Sorry, accrual pala siya. Bakit sa mind ko is cash? So sorry guys, I take back my word. This is accrual, right? So we already learned about accounting methods, right? It's either cash or accrual. That's why we talked about that. So accrual, financials are also accrual. Good. And then mind you, there are 26 freaking owners or partners. There's a lot. This is actually, I think, the most partners for a return that I prepared for. But it's okay, guys. You can do it. So 26 partners. And then all these financials, these were relevant for 2023. So these are what you will input in the tax software given the financials that you are provided with. Okay. So in ProConnect, you will need to enter this information. And then this one's not relevant to you because that's going to be your information as the preparer. And then you have to tick mark this domestic limited liability company. And then the Schedule B, you want to make sure that when you're printing the return in the check return tab in ProConnect, that the answers are consistent with the answers from the prior year, right? We usually do that. So whatever it was the answer in the previous year, unless we're informed otherwise, stays the same, right? So for example, one crucial question here is this. The CPAR audit regime. Sometimes it could be a yes, right? Sometimes it's a yes, especially if the owners are individuals, right? Pag hindi individual, like meron dito mga C Corp, S Corp or partnership, or some even are disregarded entity, they're not allowed to elect out of the CPAR. So it's a no, right? It's in this case kasi maraming partners, you can tell that the partners are not all individuals. So this analysis of net income loss per return, we can tell you a breakdown. So there are corporate owners, meaning S corps. There are individual owners. There are partnership owners, and there are also owners that are disregarded. Right. So this is a breakdown of the income distributed per type of entities. Right. And how do you know the type of entity? You go to K1. So for example, this particular taxpayer is an individual. Okay, so SSN yung binigay sa atin here. So the numbers, the SSNs here, guys, are made up. So don't worry about it. So individual. So because 26 partners yung nakita nyo guys, 26 K1s din yung i-generate ng software. So see, partner number 3, and then there's a partner 4, still individual, then there's a partnership, right? So there's this partner Inc. store is a partnership, right? So as you can see, ang binigay sa atin dito is EIN. Kasi partnership yung, another partnership yung partner, right? And then there's another partnership. There's individual. Meron ditong for sure disregarded entity. See, there's a corporation, meaning this is an S corp. Kasi ang C corp hindi pwedeng mag-partner, right? Individual. And then there's also even a disregarded entity here. It's a corporation. So what do you need from the K1s that you will input into ProConnect? Ay ito, yung kanilang beginning percentages ng profit, loss, and capital. And also on the liabilities. Kung merong beginning na share ng liabilities. Okay? Yung mga ending, these are gonna be calculated by the software based on the balance sheet. Right? And on their ownership percentages. So kung walang beginning, that's okay. But the beginning for the profit, loss, and capital ownership should be entered. And others would be supplemental no ng K1. And these ones, guys, you don't have to like input everything. You just have to fill it out in the tax software. The K1s is gonna auto-populate. So our end goal is for us to be able to produce a return that looks like this one, the output. So later, i-share ko tong output sa inyo. This is the 2024, okay? And it should look like this, okay? It should look like this. So lahat ng numbers na nakikita nyo, these are coming from the financial statements that we were provided with, okay? So what you're gonna be doing is, again, download this, okay? And then there is a work paper template that I provided you with. And I'll ask a favor from Maricris, if it's okay, Maricris, and maybe others, if you remember, sino yun na participate tomorrow, because I would not have the time to meet with you guys. If you can show the team how you guys work with the work paper the last time. So the financials here, the P&L and the balance sheet, all you have to do, guys, is to copy and paste the P&L in this sheet called PBC. PBC means provided by clients, okay? And then PBC PL and PBC balance sheet. Just copy paste from there, okay? And then, so because as you can see, yung P&L niya, or balance sheet niya, for example, ang daming accounts, right? Ang daming accounts, right? Because this is how it was recorded in the books, which is in this case, gumamit sila ng QBO. Ang P&L din, guys, ang daming accounts, right? Ang daming accounts, right? But if you look at the tax return, the P&L is very ang tawag dito, summarized, right? So you only see these accounts. So you have gross receipts, cost of sales, and few of the expense line items are provided, but all the rest are merged into other deductions, right? So all the rest are merged into other deductions. And same with the balance sheet. Balance sheet is the Schedule L here. Sorry. Ito lang yung Schedule L, right? So for the asset, you only have cash, receivables, and then you go straight to liabilities. Sorry, ano ba ito? Okay, so these are the only portions that you have for the assets, and then liability sobrang konti, even your equity, right? So it's the financials in the tax return is very summarized. So what we do in the work paper is we also summarize them. So we do mapping, right? So mga nag-audit dito, I think you're familiar with this already. So we have a template where you enter all the accounts from the client's financials, and then there's a provision for adjusting journal entries here. These are all formula because we will make, there are times we need to make adjustments, like for example for depreciation, for amortization, and all others that are either recorded in the books but not in the tax return, and some items are also in the tax return but not in the books. So we make those adjusting journal entries, and those should be picked out from this into this column D. And so you have your adjusted figure over here, and then you have your mapping. So then you will have to classify what that account should be in the tax software, right? So you have all these mapping, so that once you're done with your mapping, you're gonna be able to come up with this one. So these are the mapped accounts, same as in the tax return. So in the tax returns, you only have these accounts, right? You only have these accounts. And for the other deductions, you have this. This is based on Lacert. I'm not sure how it looks like in ProConnect, but what I suggest is in ProConnect, you take a screenshot of how it looks like for, say, other deductions. This is how this, sorry, is this Lacert? No, this is not Lacert. This is Tax Act pala.
Tax.
So this is Tax Act. So your other deductions, i-align nyo na lang kung ano ang nasa ProConnect. But this portion here should be the same as in the tax return. Okay. And then ultimately, once you have this, all you got to do is just copy paste whatever numbers that are in here into your ProConnect software, right? So, kasi nakasummarize na to eh. Nakasummarize na yung figure. These are using some IPS formula coming from this column, the adjusted books, right? So the goal for the work paper is for you to be able to make the adjustments and summarize the accounts, so that once you're done, all you need to do is to copy and paste the numbers into your whatever tax software you are using. Okay, so the same thing with the balance sheet. So balance sheet also looks like this, you guys. So this is the original numbers from the client that was provided to us. We make the necessary adjustments, and this is the adjusted column. Don't worry about this one, guys. For now, don't worry about this. Just these three. And then there's also tax grouping. So ultimately, at the bottom, these amounts or these accounts are what you will see in the actual 1065 return, right? So mapping, again, because whatever the client is using in the books are not necessarily the same account that is used in the tax return. Make sense? So we have this work paper because pag nagre-review na, right? Ang bilis na lang i-trace ng reviewer kung anong account yung ginamit ng preparer to record a, you know, how do I say this? Makikita nung reviewer kung paano mo kinategorize yung transactions, right? Like, for example, salaries, right? Salaries and wages. So, tama ba na ang lahat ng accounts ay considered as salaries and wages? May iba ba dyan na contractor dapat? Right? Yung taxes ay properly recorded ba? So, you already know yung federal taxes that's paid to the IRS is not a business deduction for the business, right? It's a personal deduction to the owner. So, that's that's one adjustment that needs to be made, right? So, pag nagre-review, makikita agad ng reviewer, okay, you made the adjustments in terms of depreciation, in terms of personal expenses that were recategorized, right? Mga deductions like meals, for example, entertainment. Diba, alam natin, meals is only deductible 50%, right? Yung ano ba, yung mga taxes, right? Again, yung sa federal, hindi siya business expense. So, dapat i-re-categorize. So, pag nag-journal entry, i-record mo yung personal account, credit mo yung taxes, right? So, dalawa yung involved, balance sheet account and the income account, right? So, makikita agad yun ng reviewer kung tama yung naging adjustments mo, right? So, the work paper is very, very helpful on the part of the reviewer. At kahit din sa inyo, right? Kasi napapadali niya yung buhay niyo. Like for example, kung walang work paper, paano mo to i-categorize, di ba? Lahat to ng net income, tapos you will have to look at paano yung commission. May commission bang expense sa tax software? Wala naman, right? Consulting services, how are you going to categorize that, right? Accounting and legal fees. So, doing this, pwede naman kasi, pwede mo namang straight input to into the tax software. But hirap sundan sa review, pagdating sa review. Tapos pag nakita mo 148 ang net income dito, bakit sa software hindi necessarily 148? Right? Because there could be adjustments. Get what I'm saying? So, tomorrow, okay ba sa'yo, Marcus, to walk them through what you did dun sa work paper? Kahit later na lang mag-data entry.
Yes po, it's okay lang po.
All right, perfect. So I'll have the meeting room open tomorrow. I'll ask Kelly, and maybe I remember involved in dito si JR. So JR can help. But ultimately, guys, what I'd like you to come up with tomorrow is your own version of the work paper, right? And sometimes, nag-iiba-iba yung judgment ng accountants, right? Kung paano kinakategorize yung accounts. Kasi, like yung iba, sa cost of sales, for example, yung iba, ang purchases sa other cost of sales nilalagay, right? May mga transactions na nagva-vary depending sa professional judgment ng accountant, which is fine, right? Hindi natin may expect na yung result mo dito sa profit and loss down here ay magma-match with everybody's number, right? But what's important is the bottom line, right? Na tama yung pareho yung bottom line nyo, right? Here ay pareho, and when you take your total income here sa line number 8 sa 1065 ay pareho, right? Because again, paiba-iba tayo ng interpretation ng mga bagay-bagay, right? And that is not like, there's no black and white rule pagdating sa categorization. right? Whatever makes sense to, the eyes and mind of the accountant who's working on it. Pero may iba kasi talagang super, super straightforward. Like for example, accounting, right? Yung iba naman sa accounting, nilalagay sa professional and legal and professional, right? So, nilalamp nila dito sa legal and professional. Yung ibang postage minsan nalalagay sa office expense, right? So, line by line, baka hindi nga yan magmamatch yung mga gawa niyo, and even ultimately sa output that I will be sharing with you later on. But that's okay. For as long as nagmamatch yung bottom line. Kasi yung expenses naman, ito total mo din naman yan. Make sense, you guys? So, use your professional judgment pagdating sa categorization based on the financials that you are provided with. Okay? And then, when you have the time, I'd like you to also explore working through ProConnect. Start entering the basic information, right? So use 2023 information, again, yung basic information that you provided for with respect to the partner and the individual partners. Sorry, the partnerships information and the individual partner, right? Para familiar kayo how to navigate the ProConnect. Because I know some of you are already familiar navigating ProConnect for individual, right? This one is different, guys. This is 1065. Okay? And I hope you would realize once you're navigating ProConnect, nang simple lang naman talaga yung pag-prepare ng 1065. Right? Pinahirapan lang kayo ni JP doon sa kanyang presentation sa Glyme. Only because he's trying to be, very comprehensive. But again, in real practice, hindi mo naman talaga mapapractice lahat. Right? Hindi mo ma-encounter lahat. Happy? Question so far?
Chris, there are some of us who doesn't have access yet with just that one, the PAD 1 LP.
Ano saan? Which one ang walang access? So I can provide you guys access. Ito?
That folder, PAD 1 LP.
Dapat meron kayo kasi yung PAD 1 LP, as you can see, if I go here, restricted. I'm sorry. I'm sorry naman. Kaya pala ang daming nagpa-pop up dun sa aking phone. Right? So anyone
dami
with the
nang
link,
nag-aas ng
viewer
link
lang
ay
kayo, ha?
access.
Viewer lang muna kayo. Kasi ay nating may ma-delete dyan. Right?
Thank you.
And then sa output, as you can see, I don't know kung nakakita niyo itong output sa folders niyo? Hindi pa?
Nakikita ko.
O nakakita mo?
Yes.
Nakikita lang namin yung folder,
Ay,
but
wait
we
lang.
cannot access the
Hindi.
folder.
Ayoko muna. I-restrict ko muna yan.
Nakikita ko din. Nakikita ko pa.
Alright.
Ako
Now
din,
you should not
nakapunta
see.
na dyan. Nakapasok finally.
Alright. Nakikita mo pa output now, Marcris?
Wala na.
Alright. So you should not see the output for now. I will restrict that para huwag kayo masyadong ma-excite to look at the result. Later na yan. So again, when you have the time, I'd like you to explore how to work. Sayang pala no, Marcus, yung session natin before dapat ni-record pala natin yun, no? Hindi ko rin yung session mo with, alam ko, you work this with Jade, eh. Diba?
Yes, we work with Jade as well
Di ba?
to
Kasi hindi
input
natin
the data
na-record yun.
din.
Hindi na-record yun ba, Chris? Yung nag-ano kayo ni Jade mo?
Oh God, wait lang.
Hindi na-record data.
Sayang. Pero
Parang
ayun,
hindi na naman ako maka-access. Wait lang ha. Sa PAD 1.
Sure?
Yeah, no access na naman siya. Even view.
Kasi bakit nagre-restrict? Ano ba yan?
Siguro yung na-restrict mo yung isang folder.
Oo, pero dapat kasi ano naman siya eh.
Nawala na naman access.
Yan yung output.
cut
Yes.
ko na muna nga to.
Tama, i-trash na lang muna din. Ibalik na lang. Lipat na lang muna. So,
Ano ba to?
pwede siya i-move to.
How do I do this? Okay.
Yeah.
You can drag to another folder muna. Ganun. Galing mo sa sheet.
Okay.
Yan. Okay.
Anyway, I will be sharing that with you naman. Para lang hindi kayo all over the place. So we'll take it one step at a time. So now, until tomorrow, explore nyo yung 2023 return, go through it, and then start entering the basic information into ProConnect. Although I'm intending to do it myself as well over the weekend, I'll just do it in a Loom recording and I'll share with you guys in the interest of time. And then tomorrow, Marcus will lead you guys in filling out the work paper template the way she would want it to, right? So again, kanya-kanya tayong discarte how we categorize the accounts depends on how, what makes sense to us, right? Happy? And it really happens in real life, guys. Hindi naman pare-para tayo ng interpretation ng mga bagay-bagay. But important thing is, pareho yung mga bottom lines natin. Okay? So that's it. And it's a pretty good exercise. You have various types of partners. And then, meron din, ang gusto ko dito sa financials niya is, yung sa balance sheet, merong breakdown ng distribution to partners, right? And then allocation. So this is a really good exercise. So this way, you become comfortable navigating ProConnect for business return. And some of you, yung mga kaka-join lang ng BA, gusto nyo din mag-explore ng ProConnect using individual returns. Take nyo yung individual course sa website natin. Okay? Step by step din naman yung nandun. Okay? All good? All good naman yung access natin so far. Nag-work naman. Nakikita ko pa rin yung mga requests for access eh. Okay, and starving, guys. I don't know. I think the problem with eating, I don't know if you guys agree with this. Kasi kinain ko agad today was pizza. Dalawang slices ng pizza. So after a few hours, gutom na gutom ako. And that happens to me every time I start the day with carbs, right? Every time I start the day with carbs, after a few hours, ang tindi ng gutom, right? But what I typically do to prevent that from happening is I start with protein, right? Protein shake or chicken or eggs. Magugutom ako pero hindi yung talagang gutom na gutom. Yung basta yung you feel so empty, your stomach feels so empty. So wala akong ibang kinain kanina, walang ibang available. So now I'm really, really hungry. So because I'm hungry, so we're gonna end early today. And so far na-cover naman natin yung exercises. This exercise will be enough for you to be busy for tomorrow until maybe over the weekend if you guys are planning on working on it on the weekend, and maybe even next week, right? So I would really want everybody to get that same output that we have in the 1065 output folder that I have, para masabi nyo, ay, successful kayo sa prepare ng 1065 before tayo mag-move on sa 1120S. Okay? Kasi yun yung pinaka-common na business return, 1120S at saka 1065. Anyway, alam niyo naman na by now, Schedule C at saka Schedule E, right? Do I hear a yes?
Yes. Yes na yes po.
Ma-burn ang carbo pag gutom. Ganun talaga. Kaya kayo guys, wag niyong start ang day eating carbs like bread. That's worse, right? Bread, rice. And then most Filipinos, we start our day with silog, right? Like
Full breakfast. Yung tawag sa
right? So, damihan nyo ng eggs pag breakfast para ano. Or minsan nga I start the day with like
Yes, boiled eggs
nuts at
better.
saka kape. So that prevents me from getting hungry. Boiled eggs much better. Yeah, walang oil. But yeah, we have to start.
Veggies muna bago carbs.
We have to start investing in our health, diba? Before it's too late. Ang expensive magkasakit, right? It can cost you your work too. Like lalo sa atin, when you start doing tax prep, diba, usually we're paid by the hours. So if you're sick, you're not able to bill a client, diba? So it's really important to invest in our health by eating the right food. Anyways, before tayo mapunta sa diet and everything,
Bye.
healthy
Kain ka na.
lifestyle, let's call it a day. Thank you guys for today. Natapos natin yung ProConnect partnership na topic sa Glyme.
Alright.
Don't worry about it too much. If you feel that it was
Oo.
overwhelming yung information, you will realize that JT was
Talaga
trying
pala.
to be comprehensive as he could be. When you're starting to prepare the 1065, sobrang konti lang yung need na information. Okay? But it will be very helpful if you're already, a little knowledgeable with Excel because it's a work paper, and then a little navigation sa ProConnect, but it's not rocket science. Yung navigation ng ProConnect is very easy, guys. Hanapin nyo lang yung EIN, hanapin nyo lang yung partner information. Do it yourself muna, right? Start exploring it on your own, and then after, I'll provide you my own version of doing it. Kasi yung aking version, hindi naman yung talaga yung standard, right? Kasi when you're preparing return, you will realize that you can have your own approach, right? On navigating the software, right? But what I will share with you is my own approach, right? But I would want you to have your own approach first. Make sense? So hopefully, lahat naman may access na ng ProConnect. Kung meron na kayong Drake, then it would even be better if you can also do entries in Drake. All right. All good? Kasing gutom na talaga ako, guys. So, let's close today's session with the prayer. Vanessa, are you still here?
Yes, please.
All right, man. Take it away.
Yes. Okay, let's bow down our heads. Father God, as we conclude our discussion tonight, we thank you, Lord, for your presence and for the opportunity to have a meaningful dialogue in our topic. We are grateful for the knowledge and insights shared here today. We pray that the wisdom we have gained will stay with us as we go our separate ways. Help us to embody the lessons we have learned and to apply them with integrity in our life. May all that we do bring honor to your name. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, guys, for today. I'll see you guys again Monday. Because tomorrow, Marcus will help you guys navigate work paper, and I'm sure masaya kayo tomorrow kasi wala ako. But I would look forward to the recording.
Maingay bukas.
Buhay na naman ang maiingay bukas.
Kaya yun ni Marie Chris. Right? I have faith in you, Marie Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you, guys.
Si Miss Alma.
Kaya ako ang
Maraming
maglista
principal.
ng maingay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
I'll see you Monday.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Alright.
Thank
See you
you.
Thank you,
tomorrow.
Chris. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chris.
Enjoy your
Yes.
night.
Thank you.